All right, we are live. Uh-oh, my little necklace is a little bit twisted. Hi, if you guys are joining us, please let me know where you are tuning in from. I'm super excited about this live with Diamond. And if you're watching, you're definitely in for some amazing treats of the knowledge that she is going to be sharing. So I will give it a few more minutes before I bring her forward. If you're joining, definitely let us know where you are tuning in from. If you're in Lisbon, definitely let me know. I hope you are able to join our Juneteenth celebration that is happening on Wednesday, June 19th from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. All right, let's get started. Hi, everyone. My name is Heather Courtney. I am a United States Naval veteran. I'm a single mom, and I am currently living in Lisbon, Portugal. I have lived here for almost 3 years with my daughter, and it has truly been amazing. We have lived abroad for almost 3 years total, collectively, well, a little over 3 years, including Mexico, but Portugal is home for right now. Today's interview is with Diamond Crystal, also known as the Gallivanting Grandma, who does amazing house sits and shares her resources and her story. And I'm really excited for her to share some of her story with everyone. Hi, Wendy from Oak Park, Michigan. All right, East Coast right now. Also, I'm excited to announce that I have a masterclass that is launching July 1st for anyone that would like to move abroad, that's thinking about moving abroad. Also, this upcoming weekend on Sunday, June 23rd, I have a free webinar to talk about moving abroad and how to get there. So, with that being said, I am going to introduce Diamond and bring her to the stage. Hi, Diamond.
Hey, Heather, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? It's so nice
I
seeing you
am
again.
fantastic. It's great to see you again. And thank you so much for the invitation. I'm so excited to be here tonight.
Yes, I had to. We had crossed paths. You came to my dinner when you were in Lisbon. And all I remember seeing in the group chat was the Gallivanting grandma. Like that's all I would see. So I was very curious. It amazes me that everyone, different ages, are out here living our best lives, traveling, and really setting the standard and the examples for others to follow.
Absolutely. I mean, first of all, kudos to the group, Black in Portugal, and the work that you are doing there to bring people together. I always say in my posts when I meet folks in different countries, I'm like, amazing things happen when you are intentionally outside. And I was intentional about joining that particular dinner. So I'm so glad I did because I made great connections, and now here we are, right?
Yes, on a live being
Yeah.
interviewed. Yes. So let's see. We have Karen from Fairhaven, Massachusetts,
Mm.
originally from Detroit, and she said, "Hi, Wendy, homegirl."
Uh-oh.
And
Is that my Wendy with the white hair? Is that my partner?
is that Wendy with the white hair?
I think that's Wendy with the white hair.
Okay, okay. So, Diamond, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background?
Absolutely. All right. So I am on Facebook. I am Diamond Brand New Crystal. I am a mom, a grandma, also known as the Gallivanting Grandma, trademarked. Thank you very much. I am a global nomad, an international connector, and a global travel ambassador for women over 55 who are looking to embrace a life of ease and grace.
Wow, that is amazing. You have a lot of titles there, and a lot of everything, especially having your targeted audience for women or men too, correct? Over
Well,
the age
yeah,
of
but
55.
primarily my demographic really is women over 55, and specifically Black women who are going through some kind of transition in life. You know, they're thinking about doing something different. They've been dreaming about doing something different. And so, yeah, that kind of is my target market.
Okay, okay, that's good. Thank you for clarifying that.
Hmm.
So, what inspired you to start solo international travel, and how did you overcome your initial fears when you decided to take that leap?
Oh, that's a loaded question, girl.
Okay,
Okay,
we'll start with the
so
first part.
life changed. Life was life in me real hard. Starting right about 56. That was the
Mhm,
time when it was very clear in my life that, you know, my marriage was coming to an end. And that's what they call a gray divorce, where you are over 50 and you've been married for over 20 years. And I fit that category. And so that was happening. And at the same time, my mom was diagnosed with terminal cancer. And so life was life in me real hard. So I decided at that point that, you know, with the transition that was going on, I needed to make some changes and I needed to make them for me. So I dusted a
mhm,
dream of travel off the shelf and I started doing house sitting to take me just within like maybe a 2 or 3 hour radius from where I was
mhm.
posted up with my mom. And that was the beginning of the journey.
Wow. Were you, before your divorce, were you traveling as much? Would you say that you were traveling just as much or not that much?
Not that much at all. You know, I think that when you are in a long term partnership, you have these long term dreams and
Mhm,
goals, right? So it was like, okay, well, when we are retired and when we get to Social Security, we're going to do these things. Well, that when did not happen in that partnership. So I really thought at the time of my divorce that I was going to have to forego my dream of international travel because I could not fathom at that point in my life how I might be able to do it by myself on a single income in stepped house sitting. And I haven't stopped.
yes, I think when people think of travel, and even the younger generation, such as myself, I mean, I'm not that young, but when I was younger, my mindset was that only rich people or wealthy people could travel. You
Hmm.
know, I feel like within the Black community, just from my experience, that not that we didn't know about it, but also like the internet wasn't a thing. And it's kind of like
Yeah,
you would have to hear it from someone. And even if it was someone, they were like, oh, that's white people stuff. You know, white people out there house sitting
absolutely.
cats and everything. So I feel like a
Absolutely.
lot of the hidden knowledge and hidden gems and hidden cheat codes to traveling that doesn't have to mean you have to spend $5,000-6,000 on a trip were overlooked or just like hidden. But it's really good now that the internet is here and you're here sharing that, you know, it doesn't matter like what age you are, it doesn't matter if you have a lot of income or a little income, like you can make it work with opportunities like house sitting.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. And I always say that, you know, representation matters. And had I not
Mhm.
seen someone who looked like me doing something that I did not know was a thing in the Black community, I didn't know Black people house sat. I didn't, you
Yeah.
know, when you say global nomad, that's something that like, you know, rich white and privileged teenagers did to me. Like, oh, I don't feel
Hmm.
like going to college after high school. I'm gonna take a year and I'm gonna backpack and I'm not gonna have a home base. And you know, that was something that was really foreign as a concept to
Yeah.
me until I discovered, you know, a group of women online who were talking about this on a regular basis. And I'm like, okay, these are average type women, you know, in my age category that are traveling and doing it successfully and doing it in different ways. And
Yeah.
so that's why I say, I think that's why I post so much about it and I'm so passionate about it because had I not seen somebody who looked like me, I wouldn't be doing it. So I'm here
Yeah.
to encourage other folks to do it.
Yes, I feel like the more people share, like the more
Mhm.
it's just like, wow, well, I have some, I'm interested in this. Like, why am I not doing it? And I also think that a lot of activities that, we have considered white people activities, such as like hiking and water sports and everything, now, we're creating these communities and safe spaces where we can have these conversations and be like, wow, you like hiking? I like hiking too, but none of
Right.
my other, Black friends would do it because it's, considered, we just don't do stuff like that. So
Right.
sharing is definitely essential for inspiring other people, and definitely staying motivated and sharing and hearing other people's responses and excitement. I feel like also helps, at least keeps my fuel going. Like, wow, you're doing this. Wow, you
Yeah.
have this going on. I would like to know more information. I think that is what I'm
Right.
getting at.
Exactly. I
Yes.
think that it's very important to share because it gets you outside of your own head, right?
Hmm.
Um, so I was in my head about house sitting. I was in my head about what I could do, as far as not having a home base. And then when you find other women who are like-minded, you get that
Hmm.
support. And I think you need that because then it's like, okay, I'm not crazy. This is something that other people are doing and they're doing it successfully. So it kind of validates, gives you confirmation that you're not some kind of crazy alien or something that's doing something,
Hmm.
trailblazing. The trailblazers have been before us already. So, in these groups, you will find support, you will find encouragement, you'll find people who get it. And that's so important to me at this stage in my life because I'm over explaining anything to anyone. If you don't get it, you just don't get it.
Yes. And I think mindset, as you touched on, is very, very important because you can be explaining something to someone that is either has the same mindset and can relate or understand, or you're talking to someone, it's like talking to a brick wall, like they don't get it.
Exactly.
So having that supportive community is very, very important when you're traveling, whether you're based anywhere, having someone you can reach out to and share stories or just like situations or questions is definitely 100% key to keep doing what you're doing, knowing that this is the path I'm on, this is what I like,
Yep.
and there's other people doing the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So how did you come I'm sorry, how did you overcome your initial fears when you first started house sitting?
Well, when I first started house sitting, I didn't have fears about house sitting. I think my fear was based on not having done international travel. So while I started house sitting domestically, I was cool with that. I didn't have any trepidation about that. I looked at it like it's akin to choosing the right Airbnb, but having responsibilities.
Yeah.
So if you attack it that way, it's like, okay, I'm looking at the pictures, I'm looking at the location, I'm looking at the responsibilities. Oh, this house has a hot tub. Oh, that sounds good.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
this house has, if you're into a gourmet kitchen and the house offers that, it's like you're going through the photographs the same way that you would the descriptions, like an Airbnb, but at the end of the day, you don't have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Right? So if you use the same selection process, and I'm really choosy about where I go and where I stay. So you take your time, you do your due diligence, and act like you are actually paying for it. And then I think you'll always make the right selections for yourself. So
No,
I
that's
didn't have
really
I didn't have fear about house sitting. My fear was in international travel because I hadn't done it. Right. And I was like, okay, I punked out. My first international solo trip was to Belize. And the reason I chose Belize was because I was afraid of not knowing another language.
yes, because
So
the
that
the
was an
national language is English
yeah, it
in
was an
Belize.
English, it's an English speaking country. And so that was one thing I didn't have to worry about. So I call that my real, I dipped my pinky toe into international travel with Belize because I had done some stuff, everybody's been to Mexico on a cruise or a honeymoon or something like
Mhm.
that. But my first solo international adventure was to Belize. And it was really kind of a punk out move because of that. So I let my fear get the best of me in selecting that particular location.
Yeah, so I believe that goes into my next question. Can you share a specific experience where placing faith over fear made a significant impact on your travels?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, that was really the first one because, my parents were still alive at that point. And my
Mhm.
mom was like, wait a minute. I know you're not trying to go no place by yourself. You haven't done this, all the things. But I was like, my divorce was final at that point, and I was determined that I was going to jumpstart my new life doing what I said I wanted to do while I was still married, So I had
Mhm.
to dust that dream off at some point. And so yeah, I had to overcome the hesitation that I got from those who were closest to me. My daughter was like, nah, you don't need to be going by yourself. My mom was like, no, I don't think that's a good idea. My father wasn't with it. I really had to, just shore up my own faith muscle and say, I can do this. I can,
Mhm.
I can go to a foreign country. I can navigate around. And again, because I knew the language, it wasn't as challenging as, when I first went to Mexico or Ecuador.
Yes.
Yeah.
I I believe I can relate when, I left America with my daughter, I think was 13 at the time, maybe 14.
Hmm.
We went to Mexico. And when
Hmm.
I tell you friends and family were not with it, they were
Yeah.
just like, the cartel, the drugs, the
Yes. Oh
trafficking.
my goodness.
Like, do y'all see what's going on in the US right now? Do y'all know what's going on down in Florida, all these
Right.
ports around the world?
Yeah.
Like, there are safe places all over the world. And there's also unsafe places all over the world. And
Absolutely.
I think
Absolutely.
that you still have to do your due diligence when you decide to say, hey, I'm going to go to this country. I'm going to stay in this area. I mean, granted, I think there are people that just go and do like no research and just like wing it. But I
Hmm.
think that I'm just not one of those people. So of course, like I'm going to go on these Facebook groups. I'm going to look on the internet. I'm going to
Right.
gather information. I'm going to talk to people and make, sound decisions. And I think that sometimes, our friends and family are coming from like a place of love and safety. And they just like, well, what if this happens? Who you're going to call? It's not like we can just hop in a car and come get you.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, but that's okay.
But
Sometimes it's
that's
like that.
really okay because if you
Yeah,
live on one coast and your immediate family lives on another coast, they can't hop in the car and come get you and rescue you. That's a plane
exactly.
ride. Am I right? It's a plane
Yeah.
ride. So put it in perspective. And I think it's very important to recognize that, you know, um, messages of fear often come packaged as concern.
Hmm.
So, what I got from when I really started my international travel, I got from my closest circle of friends, I'm just afraid for you.
Yeah.
And I knew that was coming from a place of concern, but I'm like, dang, that is a fear message, right? I don't need that. You can be a lot of things for me. Be happy for me. Be excited for me, but please don't be afraid for me. I don't
Yeah.
need that fear. I'm already working on, strengthening my faith muscle so that I can do this on my own and do it successfully. And then to have
Hmm.
those closest to you say, oh, I'm just afraid for you. Be anything for me except
Yeah.
afraid, please, because I'm not afraid for myself. So,
Yes.
you just got to
Exactly.
be careful of those messages that try and infiltrate and get you off your game.
Yes. And they can be very impactful. I
Hmm.
remember when I left for the military, my family was not with it.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's just like, well, what if your daughter? What if this happens? What if that happens? And it really made me think about like, wait, am I doing the right thing? Like,
yes,
what if like
yeah.
the it can get to you sometimes. And sometimes
Hmm.
like if you're not as strong minded in a decision that you're going to make, sometimes you may like back up and be like, hey, hold up, they were saying this. But
Hmm.
when you reflect back on these decisions that you made, like what if I listened to my friends and family? Like where would I be at right now on today on June 16th at 9:19 p.m.? Where would I be at? Would I still be in the United States? Would I still be
Oh, I know I
working
would.
groceries at
Right.
Walmart? It's a lot.
Hmm. 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 I mean, it really does take faith to do anything new. And I liken, faith and fear are they have similar veins, right? Because it
Mhm.
takes an invisible belief to
Yeah.
have faith. It's you have belief in something that is intangible, right?
Hmm.
I believe in God, but I've never seen him. I've never touched him, but I believe, right?
Yeah.
That is a blind trust, right? And so your
Hmm.
fear is based on something that you have not seen or experienced either, so
Yeah. It's
just the
kind of like the
same way that
unknown.
you, yeah, it's the fear of the unknown. And so it takes the same kind of blind belief. So where are you going to apply it? To fear, or are you going to apply it to faith? I apply it to faith. And that gets me over any kind of trepidation that I may have with any trip that I take to any country. I'm in Morocco. I didn't know one word of Arabic, okay?
Yeah.
Not one word. And I'm like, all right, well, I got to get out the EU. My 90 days is up. They have
Yep.
kicked me
Yep.
out. They kicked me out. So, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to Morocco. I got to sit
Yeah.
in
It's right next
Morocco. And I'm
door.
like, it's like right next door. It's amazing how you can border hop once you get out of the United States. It's crazy. But that was a faith over fear type of move on my part, because I was like, Arabic is something that I have no clue how it's supposed to sound. I don't know how to say anything. You can kind of get away with the romance languages, right? If you know a
Yeah.
little bit of Spanish, you can probably understand a little bit of French. You're going to pick up a little bit of Portuguese, but Arabic, yeah. So that was a faith over fear move right there.
Hard. Yeah. Yes. No, it was. And you answered my next question. Are you looking at the questions?
No.
I was going to ask, how do you incorporate faith into your travel routines and decisions? And
Yeah.
you clearly explained it already. So, um, yes, having faith is kind of one thing I believe in.
Mhm.
As you like, I believe in God. I'm a child of God. I have never seen him in my life. I
Right.
probably will never see him in this lifetime, but it's just something reassuring that the path that I go on and the decisions that I make are being guided,
Yes.
into the direction and the path that I'm supposed to be on. So I
Right.
truly
Right.
resonate with faith over fear. And fear is common, but at the same time, I can't allow my fears to get the best of me. And
Right.
what's the worst that can happen? That nothing I exceeded, or
What's
I
the
just
worst that
stayed in
can
the
happen?
yeah,
That's right. So
that's
you give yourself a worst case scenario. What's the worst thing that can happen? I listen. I was in Mexico for 5.5 months the first time that I visited. Cartel wasn't
mhm.
clocking for me. Nobody was trying to sex traffic me and kidnap
Nope.
me. None of the things, right? None of the things happened while I was in Mexico. So every time you exercise that faith muscle, it gets
Mhm.
stronger. And
Yes.
so now you're able to move to the next place and say, well, listen, none of these things happen, because now you have boots on the ground. You have actual experience that you can lean on. You're not listening to other people's experiences or their fears, right? Which are
Yeah.
generally not based on experience. Everybody who was telling me to
Exactly.
be careful about things ain't never been nowhere. Do you understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And
No
so if
passports
you can,
either.
if
Never
you
been
got
to Mexico before.
right. I mean, you got certain survival skills as a Black person in the United States. Those survival skills will
Yeah.
serve you well in these international streets, because before you know it, you don't even need them. I don't
No.
have the same microaggressions coming at me in Portugal, in Spain, in
Mhm.
Morocco that I have when I return to the United States. So we have a set of skills that you're able to even put down for a little bit, right? Your bag doesn't need to be so heavy when you leave the United States. And when you realize that, that helps you to, move forward in faith as well, because I don't even have to deal with that bull crap.
Yes, it's like a sense of relief.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that when I travel, especially when I was living in the US, I did a lot of traveling with my daughter. It's just like the like I can be me. I don't have to look over my shoulder. I don't have to worry about people doing the most. I
Right.
mean, granted, in some countries they're trying to get you in their tuk-tuks or their taxis. I think like that's like the
Sure.
most aggression that I've ever felt abroad. But it's just like I belong here. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not
Mm-hmm.
making way for, a white woman or white man to go past, or I don't have to worry about if I want to go to a park, have to worry about someone bothering me because I don't belong there. So
Right.
traveling really does that to you, and it just really makes you, your guard is still up as far as like safety wise, don't do anything dumb, but as far as
Sure.
like being able
Sure.
to enjoy yourself,
Mm-hmm.
taking the armor off, and
Yep.
just really enjoying life. And I feel like as a Black American, we have like this armor for those that have lived in the US and now have lived abroad or travel abroad.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have this
Mm-hmm.
armor, like, yes, we're like strong, we're always like wearing everything on our shoulders, like nothing's bother us, but that can weigh you down, long
Mm-hmm.
term when you're traveling, still having that mindset of, oh, it's this, oh, it's that. Like
Right.
the peace of
Right.
mind and the quality of life is, I feel like, diminishes a lot when you start traveling, when you start seeing how the rest of the world navigates and seeing the different mindsets and coming across people that you encounter during your
Yeah.
travels or wherever you live abroad. So
Yeah, yeah. And I can
definitely,
agree with that
definitely.
100%. I mean, the challenges that I have come up against in international travel is generally from white Americans who,
Hmm.
they carry that privilege with them.
Yeah.
And so, somebody's going to try and Karen me if I'm in the coffee line and they're behind me. Those are the types
Hmm.
of challenges that I have found still exist. But as far as, the native folks to whatever country you're in, I've not had that. I really have not. I was a little bit apprehensive about coming to Morocco. One, for the language barrier, but two, because I had been told by people who had been here before that they're going to try and put you in different cabs, and you can't be safe, and make sure that you're not in the Medina at night by yourself. And so I had gotten all of these
Yeah.
reports. And so I was a little bit apprehensive when I got off the ferry, because I took the ferry over from
In
Spain.
Spain. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, from the south of Spain. And $35. Who knew? Like, and you're in a whole
Super
nother,
cheap.
it's
That's an
crazy.
Uber ride in Atlanta, 5 minutes down the road, $35.
Okay. Okay. You're in a whole nother country. You got another stamp on your passport, but I digress. So I didn't know what to expect when I landed, and what I got exceeded my expectations,
Yes.
because I was welcomed so warmly. And it was just an incredible feeling, and it was nothing like what I had been described to me. That's all I can say. So you really, the experience has to be your own. You can't go on anybody else's experience, and particularly if you're going on the experience of someone who doesn't look like you. The
Yes.
reports I had
And
gotten, yeah, yeah.
yes. So two things on that. My daughter and I went to Morocco. We took like an impromptu trip. We traveled 57 euros for two people round trip to Morocco for the weekend. So
Uh-huh.
super,
Uh-huh.
super affordable. Um, I was also a little, I wouldn't say I would be, I wasn't concerned, but
Mm-hmm.
I always think about, we travel all over the world, and especially traveling as a woman with a
Yes.
child, you get asked, oh, where's your husband at? Where,
Mm-hmm.
for me, it's just like, okay, my husband's at the
Yep.
hotel, but
Yep.
I didn't feel that, I didn't get that when I went to Morocco. We stayed in
Mm-hmm.
Marrakesh. The Riyadh was amazing. My daughter got
Mm-hmm.
sick on that trip. They went out their way, they got the cold medicine, some local herbs, some tea that my daughter truly loves. And
Yeah.
I'm like, well, how much is it? They're just like, no, 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 we took care of you, we
Yep.
take care of you. And even, the workers that were there, like making sure like they brought us all the way out of the Riyadh and told us which way to go. We did like some tour or whatever. So everyone was extremely helpful. I
Yes.
don't feel that we were targeted or we were treated any other way. And I won't say that I did not feel safe. Like I did feel safe. Now, as
Mm-hmm.
far as nighttime comes, I was in, we were there when Morocco played some other country. They won like the national championship. Like it was everywhere,
Oh,
like
well, yeah.
streets and everything. It was
Just
wild.
crowds. Yeah.
Even then, I didn't feel unsafe. There was a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people, a lot of stuff going on, and
Mm-hmm.
I get there's like a lot of people. Sometimes I get like a little nervous, trauma
Yeah,
from the
yeah,
U.S.
yeah,
But here I was just like, they're just celebrating in the streets. They're like
yeah,
wilding out in their cars. They got the shirts, like Petey Pablo, and it was
yeah.
great. Now, I will say, like,
Mhm.
if you're going down a dark alleyway, you're going to the ATM at night and pulling out money, like, are these really smart decisions?
But
No.
isn't that common sense? I mean, so
Yeah.
you apply common sense and you probably apply it, to the next degree when you are traveling alone as a woman of color, right?
Yes. But
So
common
your
sense
head
isn't
is
so
going to be on
common.
swivel, but you don't. I have not been in an environment where I felt unsafe. I don't like big
Mm.
cities. That has nothing to do with feeling unsafe. I just, crowds at some point, I've got enough. I feel like they're closing in. I don't want to be there anymore. So I'm probably not going to be in Marrakesh on the street at night in a crowd for very long because that's just not my wheelhouse. That's not, my
Yeah.
comfort zone at all. To
Mhm.
experience it is one thing, but that's not how I prefer to travel. But again, I did not feel unsafe. And, talking about locals just embracing you,
Yeah.
the other native tongue here is French, right?
French.
So I'm like, I
Mhm.
can pick up some French. I studied French in high school 100 years ago. So, it starts to come back slowly. And so I'm
Yeah.
walking into places and I'm greeting them in French. And the waiters, the restaurant owners, the shop owners, they're like, no, we say, and they'll tell me how to say hello in Arabic. Like, no, we leave that to other folks, we
Yeah.
of color. And so I'm included now, which was a wonderful feeling. When I say merci, for bringing me my food, they're like, no, 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 we say
Yeah.
shakran.
They're so welcoming.
They are
And I
so
just
welcoming and so warm. Yeah.
yes, it's just, trust but verify. That's one thing the Navy taught me was trust but verify. So yes, I hear what you're saying. Yes, that was your experience, but I'm not just going to go off solely your experience. You could have been doing something crazy that day. But
That's right.
also common sense isn't so common. That's the
Yeah.
thing. Like
Yeah.
common sense so you don't be in dark alleyways as a woman late at night. Like
Right.
you're putting yourself in these situations that don't have to
Right.
be.
Exactly. And would you do that in the United States?
No,
Probably
I'm
not.
not going down no alleyway. I
Probably not.
know no money.
So why would you attempt it in a foreign country? It just doesn't make sense. But like you said, common sense is not common. But
Yeah.
these are the things that I think the support groups that are out there provide a safe space to have these types of conversations, right?
Yeah.
So
It is.
I encourage people before you decide to visit a country, get in the local Facebook group. If you want to go to Portugal, get in Black in Portugal. I mean, I was in Black in Portugal last year when I wanted to be there and missed all the things, the Juneteenth and stuff. And so I knew who I wanted to connect with this time around. And you have to be
Yeah.
intentional about doing that. Yeah. Give
Yes.
yourself a soft landing.
Yes. Being intentional, I feel like can set you on the right path of whatever you're doing in life, whether it's traveling, whether it's sports, education, anything. You have to be intentional because when you're not, if you're just like doing things just because and you don't know
Mhm.
like what direction you're going,
Yeah.
what are we doing in life here?
Right.
Intentional things only.
Right. 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 Yeah.
So let's get into your house sitting. I know people are wondering about the house sitting. So how has house sitting helped you travel cost effectively? And what tips do you have for finding trustworthy opportunities?
Well, I am a big advocate for the platform that keeps me booked and busy, and that is Trusted House Sitters. It is a UK based company, and they have, I think when I checked it this morning, close to 9,000 active house sits available worldwide. And that is domestic in the US and every place else in the world that you can think of, from South Africa to Argentina, all the places. So, how has house sitting helped me to travel the world on a dime? I don't pay for accommodations. So, the 90 days that I was in the EU, I would say 80 of those were covered by house sits.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you are not paying for accommodations, imagine what kind of lifestyle you could have, right? What would you do with the money that you are saving on a hotel or an Airbnb? It gives you a richer experience. It gives you an opportunity to actually live in the local communities,
Mm-hmm.
find local, develop local relationships, right?
Connection. Yeah.
Yes, relationships are important. That's your new currency. And then you're living like you live there. So for the 80 plus days that Wendy and I were together in Portugal, I mean, it
Yes. I
was
saw the
easy for
pictures of
me.
Wendy.
Yeah, yeah, we celebrated her birthday everywhere we went. Yeah, it was absolutely wonderful. But again, house sitting is a cost-effective way to see the world because your accommodations are generally your largest expense. So you
Yes.
can usually find a cheap flight. As we discussed earlier, once you're in Europe, you can border hop as much as you want to economically. You can hop a train, you can hop a bus, you can do a ferry, and that costs you little
Mhm.
to nothing. Now, if you're paying little to nothing to get from Portugal to Spain and from Spain to Morocco, that cost
Yeah.
me less than $100. And I'm not out of
Yes.
pocket yet on accommodations. And I've been, next week will be 1 month that I'm in Morocco.
Wow. So
Hmm.
pretty much you're balling. The balling, Gavilat, and Grandma. That you need to add that to your trademark. Balling at the beginning.
Well,
No, that's
I call it smart money, because
yeah.
whether or not you can afford to do it the conventional way is really.
Oh no, she went out. It might be her internet connection, but until she comes back, has anyone ever thought about house sitting before? Or has anyone done house sitting? Anyone that's watching? I think that it is an amazing way so far what Diamond has described about being able to travel for a fraction of the cost. Only thing you're paying for is just the travel part, As she mentioned, traveling in Portugal is super, very, very cheap when she was here. I mean, I've taken a bus up north round trip for €7, which is about $7 US. And even going over to Spain, going over to France, Germany, Belgium, just access within the EU and parts of Africa are very, very accessible. Oh, and here she is. She is back. Let me add her back to the stage. Hey, girl.
I am so sorry. I don't know what happened, but anyway, technology is good when it works, right?
Yes, yes, yes. I was just filling in about how affordable travel is in Portugal and in the EU. A fraction of the cost. That is a gas, a full tank of gas. You can travel for less than a full tank of gas in the EU
Yeah,
and in
yeah.
different parts of Africa.
I mean, it's
Wow.
amazing. So, again, if you do not have to come out of pocket, whether you can afford it or not, because that's really not the question at hand. It's about how
Okay.
you want to use your money. And I call house sitting smart money. It's not for people who have no money. It's people who are
Yeah.
smart about the money that they have. I'd rather keep it in my pocket and spend it on experiences and things that I
Hmm.
want to do in a country. I don't want to shortchange myself because I'm paying for accommodation. So this is a beautiful way to do that.
Yes, and I think you shared your link. You have a affiliate link for the trusted house sitters.
I
Did I
do.
see
I
that
do.
somewhere? Okay,
I'm
I'll
sure
make
you
sure I
probably did
include
because
that.
I sent you 1,000 links, it seems like. But
Yeah, I think I put it in the description, but I'll double check after this live. But definitely recheck if it's not there right now. At the end of this
Mhm.
live, I'll add it in there and definitely click on the links and see what possibilities you have, whether you're traveling in the U.S. or traveling abroad. There's so many
Right.
different opportunities as well.
There are a
So
ton of
what
opportunities.
Yes. And we're in the season of saving money, and not spending or wasting money when there's opportunities to save. Now, house sitting is not for
Exactly.
everyone, but if you do want to take a chance and try it out, I think trying something once, you might like it.
Right. Right.
And,
And
and
just let
speaking
me
of,
just if I may stay on this topic
Yeah.
for a minute, because people are
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
oh, it's not really, you're not really just house sitting, you're actually pet sitting. And for 90% of the opportunities that are available, there are pet responsibilities there. Like I'm in
Okay.
Morocco. I've been posting up videos and pictures of the Atlantic Ocean view from my place in Rabat, where I am
Mhm.
caring for two cats who are indoor outdoor. So they have their cat door. They come in. I don't have to get up and let them out or anything like that. They have
Yeah.
automatic feeders, right? And
Oh,
automatic
wow.
fountains. So what am I really doing? What am I really doing? I'm making sure that the house
Supervising.
is secure. Yeah, I'm supervising the cats, right? And I'm gallivanting. So
Yeah.
that, house sitting allows me the flexibility to get out in the streets and explore, for again not having to come out of pocket for accommodations. And there are house sits where all you do is water the plants. If that's your
Yeah.
thing and you are into gardening, then find yourself a house sit that you only do gardening, or you only take care of the plants. That's not my thing. I would kill a plant. But,
Mhm.
I'm good with the cats and the dogs. So you find what works for you. And like you said, you try it, you see if you like it. It's like, eating octopus for the first time. Try it. You might like it. I
Yeah,
love it.
you might like it. My
Hmm.
daughter is a big octopus lover. For me, it's like I have a love-hate relationship with it. I don't like when it's
Hmm.
broiled, but if it's like cut up and it's like fried, like oh, some lemon on it, I'll eat that. But when
Yeah.
it's broiled, it's like just flash fry it for me. Just throw it in the fryer real quick.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah.
So, Lori had said, let's see. Okay, Lori from Houston, Texas is watching,
Uh-huh.
and she said, Heather, your interview on Black to Global podcast was excellent. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you were able to watch Krishan's amazing podcast. I think you were also, Diamond, on her podcast recently as well. Were you on her podcast
No,
recently?
no, no, no. But let's shout that out, Krishan.
Yes, Krishan, if you're watching my YouTube channel from Black to Global,
Yeah.
you should interview the Gallivanting
The gallivanting
Ballin
grandma.
grandma. Yes, yes, yes. Andrea
Shameless
said hello,
plug.
ladies. And Alexandra Rivers said, I love this. Had the opportunity to meet Diamond in Lisbon, and she is amazing.
Oh, thank
Yes.
you. So nice to that you tuned in. Thank you.
Yes, Alexandria. No,
Okay.
Alexandra. Where are you tuning in from? And also, Andrea. I'm like the American way to say it and like the European way to say
Right,
it.
right.
Where are you? Where are you tuning in from? If you can just put that in the description. Yeah, girl,
Listen,
you're
isn't it nice? Isn't it nice to have to ask, where are you tuning in from and where did you meet Diamond? Because I meet people everywhere I go. That's what I do. I'm an intentional connector. So you could be from Ecuador, Mexico, Portugal, Uruguay. Where did I meet you? I want to know.
Yes. And actually, I know who Alexandra Rivers is. We just had a conversation because I'm interviewing her in July. We met last year when she was trying to move here. She got a visa, everything. And then she sent me her email address. And I was like, girl, who is this? Who is this person?
Oh,
Did you give me the right
wow.
address? But she goes by a different name.
Yep, yep.
It's Kate. It's Kate from Ohio.
Oh,
Um,
Kate. Hey, Kate. Yes, yes,
Kate.
yes.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
I
she was
met
at the
Kate
dinner
and her
too.
family. Kate and her
Her
family.
husband.
Her kids were there.
Yeah,
Yes. Wonderful.
yes. Okay, it's making sense.
Yep,
Um,
yep.
yes, Andrea said my
Hmm.
husband and I are doing our first. Oh wait, let me put it there. We're doing our first pet sit house sit for an adorable doggy named Bella. I'm grateful for
Oh,
Diamond Crystal Coaching Service that helped me secure a beautiful our Algarve location. That's wonderful to hear. Congratulations, Andrea. And I hope that
yeah,
we'll cross paths if you're in Portugal and you end up heading to the Lisbon area. And
absolutely.
and Kate said, remind Diamond that we met her, Wendy, at Meet Marvilla. Yep.
Yes, yes, she has two adorable girls. And I told her, I said, when y'all get settled and moved into Portugal, you need to get me because I am a grandma. I'll come and keep the kids while y'all take a little extended vacation, right?
Yeah.
So
And
good
you,
to
and
see you again.
And you know what, Kate? Who is this picture? And who is this picture on your YouTube channel? Who is that? Is that Kate? Because it don't look like Kate, or is that
I can
Alexandra?
really see it. It's small.
Yeah, I think that's Alexandra, but Kate looked totally different in person. Um,
Yeah,
but in
we
a good
were
way, a good way,
yeah,
not a bad way.
yeah.
She said, "Girl, that's me with no hair." Okay.
Oh, that's funny.
Okay, Kate with no hair or Alexandra with no hair.
Right.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you another. I have some more questions to ask, and then I'm going to
Sure.
we're going to come back, go through some of these questions people are asking. So,
Uh-huh.
what are some of your like one or two of your most memorable house sitting experiences that you had, and what did you learn from them?
Okay. Let me just say that my first long-term domestic house sit was in California. It was really the first time I had been to California for more than like 2 days on business. And this was a 3-week house sit. I had a cat to care for, cat to supervise, and a car to drive. So it was just a beautiful setup, right?
Mhm.
I get there, they pick me up from the airport, and on the way to the house, she says, there's something that I really need to tell you, and I don't know how you're gonna take this. So I'm like, whoa, wait, what? Um, First of all, they didn't put in their profile that they had a tenant living in their downstairs. Because
Ooh,
otherwise I would have never accepted the sit. That was not part of it. So these are things that you learn as you go in this house sitting life, right? Is there anybody else
mhm.
on the property? Because a lot of people are, renting out space,
Yeah.
separate spaces in their homes to, meet their budget, right? So that was
Hmm.
number one. So I was like, okay, but you weren't in full disclosure mode about this whole thing. So now I'm feeling some kind of way. I'm a newbie. I'm on edge now. She says, and
Yeah.
so the tenant last night he committed suicide. I'm like,
Whoa.
what?
Okay. Multi levels to this.
I'm like, what? Committed suicide? Yeah, we very unexpected, whatever. Of course, suicide is always pretty much unexpected, right? But this is
Yeah.
what I'm learning from San Francisco airport to their
On the way to
home.
the house.
On the way to the house, on the way to the house.
Oh my
So,
goodness.
the downstairs has been secured, and there's no police activity, none of this, none of that. Girl, I was shook. Do you understand? I was like
Yeah.
shook. So what did I learn? Ask specific types of questions before you accept the sit. And I thought that I was really good at asking questions that I needed to know before I went into any kind of long-term sit. So
Mhm.
it was distressing for me. And the first 3 days, they put me up in a hotel because I'm like, listen, like, y'all got stuff to do still. The family
Yeah.
is coming over to collect things and all of this stuff. It was
Where's the police at? The
crazy.
police not. She said there's no police. Like,
Yeah, so all of that had already happened, I guess. And it
yeah,
had been, it had been determined that it was indeed a suicide, whatever. So no police were coming back. But I'm like, that seems like really quick for it to be all buttoned up. And so, no,
yeah.
I'm not comfortable staying in the house. So, yeah, for the first almost 4 full days, I was at a hotel until, so that was my first experience. Yeah. After
So
all that
notice
was said and
what
done,
ask. Does
ask
anyone else live in there?
is there anyone else that lives on the property? Is there anyone else who has access to the property? Those are things
Hmm.
as a single person house sitting you need to know. And those were some of those questions as a newbie I didn't know to ask. And so
Yeah.
from that point, that really was the start of my group on Facebook, which is Sisters Who Sit, because I felt like there needed to be a safe space where we talked about nothing but house sitting, the do's, the
Hmm.
don'ts, the whys, the why nots, that type of thing. So that was a learning experience for me that I found a way to share with others.
I
So that was
think
my most
Diamond
challenging
is
house sit. That was mine. I think, Heather, are you frozen now? I'm not sure. Like I said, technology is only good when it works. So I'm just going to keep going. But from those 4 days that I was in the hotel at the host's expense, I was able to kind of regroup, and I was driving their car. So I got to drive down to LA and see some things before I had any kind of responsibilities, which was very nice as well. But again, that kind of set the foundation for me understanding as a solo house sitter going into, a long-term situation. This was 3 weeks. The questions to ask and how to ask them, and make sure that I was entering a safe environment. Now, I have not had any type of situation like that at all since then. Most of my house sits, the majority of them are luxury. I always tease in the group that there should be a filter where people can say whether or not they have a hot tub, because I'm always eye spying for a hot tub. I'm eye spying for a beautiful bathroom. I love a luxurious bath. And when you travel internationally, a bathtub is not something that you take for granted, right? In Portugal, in Spain, in Mexico, bathtubs are not everyday things. So when I find a luxurious bath, that kind of catches my eye as well, as far as a house sit is concerned. So since then, I'm real selective. I'm picky.
Yes. Sorry about that. It removed you, and then it removed me, and then it said I didn't have any internet.
Hey.
Probably
You didn't tell me I was gonna have a spotlight, girl.
Yeah, I was just like, what happened? I looked at my internet, looked at my VPN, had to open up a new window. Yeah, that was odd. So apologies, but I see Diamond filled in. But yes, a bathtub, as you were saying.
Yes.
A bathtub is always nice.
Not something that you take for granted. So, traveling internationally, because I never really know for sure if I'm going to have a tub, whether or not it's going to be a tub that you want to soak yourself in, etc. I travel with a little bit of hydrogen peroxide and rubbing alcohol, so I can sanitize it. So, I can take a good soak and feel good about being in another person's tub. But it's like an Airbnb, would you sit your butt down in one of those? So same difference. Make sure that you do what it takes to feel comfortable.
Yes. Ask questions, bring disinfectants. Those are the 2 takeaways.
Absolutely. And washcloths. Bring washcloths, because washcloths are not a thing outside the United States.
And not a thing. The closest thing I've seen is like a mitt, you stick your hand in. And I'm just like, I order mine from Amazon Spain, like a 6-pack of actual washcloths. But locally, I cannot find them. And it's like, what y'all washing your legs with?
I know they're not.
I don't wash your legs.
Washcloths are not a thing, and top sheets are not a thing.
Yes.
So I know a lot of sitters who travel internationally and they carry their own sheets. Now, because I'm a nomad, I generally do not do that. I don't go that level. But my own silk pillowcase, there are things that you need to carry with you that will make you feel most comfortable when you're in someone else's environment. And again, I usually don't have problems with it being dirty or anything.
Yes, I like to travel with a blanket. I know it sounds childish, but hear me out.
Yeah.
When I stay in these hotels, something about hotel bedding and the solution they use to clean it, it irritates my skin. So I travel with my own personal blanket. So it's not necessarily that I wrap up into my blanket all the time, but I spread it over the bed. And normally where I stay, it's really not cold or has a thermostat. So my face is touching things that are familiar. And plus, it smells like my home. So it's something that does something to your brain cells when you have a scent or a familiar feeling that makes traveling solo, not seem as lonely at night.
Exactly.
It's kind of like a safety blanket, like a little kid has their little blankie. That's me at 37 having a safety blanket.
I say whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. If that's what you need to feel comfortable in your setting, then that's what you do. I know people who will stage a place completely before they settle in. I know I have a solution that I spray down the bedding. If I'm not able to take the bedding off and wash it, ahead of my first night's sleep. Then I've got a solution of tea tree oil and lavender oil and
Mhm.
hydrogen peroxide that I'm just going to spray all that bedding before I
Mhm.
get in. And I'm gonna wait for it to dry, and then I feel comfortable in going to bed. So you got to do what works for you.
Yes, and there's not a right or wrong way, but
Mhm.
what we're not doing is just hopping into bed, depending that somebody washed some sheets with detergent. You
No,
know, it's
no, we never make those assumptions. Never.
no. Oh, this conversation has been so good. I'm just like, I don't want it to end. It's so good. Um, can you discuss the importance of community and connections in your travel experiences since you've been traveling abroad?
It's vital.
Mm,
That's what I'm going to tell you. It is absolutely vital. Being a global nomad, my family circle is very small. My daughter and my granddaughter, they're in the States. They're posted there. So having a sense of community wherever you go, you have to be intentional about reaching out.
mhm.
I think I did a post on Facebook not long ago, and I said, as Black people, we usually keep our plans real close to our chest. We're tight-lipped about what we're going to do for a lot of different reasons. And I'm an advocate of doing absolutely the opposite. Shout it out in these groups,
Mhm.
because there are women who have already walked the path that you're trying to walk. They already know where's the best place to go to the ATM and where to buy the best fruits without, having to haggle. They already know all the things that you need to know. And secondly, somebody's looking for you when
Yeah.
you arrive. If I say, listen, I'm coming to Lisbon, who wants to meet up? I'm going to be there on blah, 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 blah to whatever date. People are like, hey, Diamond, have you arrived yet? Let's get together.
Mhm.
So, that gives you a sense of community and belonging before you even touch down. Somebody is anxious to meet with you. And that gives you a very good sense of security and can help alleviate some of that fear that you still may have. Just because you got on the plane and you're
Yeah.
doing the thing does not mean that you don't have reservations or you're still grappling with underlying fear about the adventure itself. So set yourself up for success. Reach out, let people know you're coming. I said I'm coming in the Black in Portugal group, and they were like, okay, well, this is what's going on when you come in, blah, blah. And it was just
Mhm.
wonderful. I felt welcome. And that's really important. It's vital to make those connections.
No, that's really good that you say that because my mom is older. She moved to Mexico after I was there. She like fell in love. Now she's moving here to Portugal. And she's in some of the WhatsApp groups. I'm just like, Mom, don't be a lurker. Like, start making these connections
Yes.
now. So when you arrive, or not, well, she's
Mhm.
coming next month, waiting for her visa to be approved. But now you know people you connect with. And I
Exactly.
think the older my mom is 65, 65,
Mhm.
66. And
Mhm.
I think she like isn't, oh my God, my mom's probably gonna not like what I'm about to say, but it's the truth. Like she's in like a mindset where I don't like technology. I'm just
Ah,
used to like in-person meetups and like you can still have in-person meetups, but how are you gonna meet these people? You gotta have the transaction first of, hey, I'm
absolutely.
Teresa, I'm a genealogist. I love the African diaspora. I'm a
Mhm.
historian. Does
Mhm.
anybody want to meet up and talk? Or can we go to like the local,
Exactly.
and then people will be genuinely interested. And
Absolutely.
I'm trying to get her to understand like this is how you make friends from abroad.
Mhm.
You don't know anyone. Yes, I can introduce you to my 50 plus community. Yes, amazing people, amazing community. However, I need for you to make your own connections instead of
Yeah,
me
yeah. You
like
need to engage. And
introduction.
you said something really important. You said, you have to be transactional. You have to be involved in the process.
Yeah.
And take that one step further. Your community, your network is your currency. Because if you don't have that, then you're probably trying to negotiate, rent. You're trying to negotiate all kinds of things on your
Oh,
own, where it
it
would
doesn't
be
have to be
so
that
much
way.
easier if you already talk to the folks who have been down that road.
Yes.
And being a solo traveler, I love being by myself. That's why I solo travel, but I don't want to eat every single meal by myself where I go. So,
Mhm.
let's connect up and have a meal. Let's connect up and have a glass of wine because that's my thing. Like, where we gonna go drink?
Yeah.
Um, I want to meet up and I want to learn from your experience being there already. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
important.
It's important to the older generation. Y'all baby boomers out there. Like the
Hey, that's
technology.
me. I had to do it. I'll be 62 in August. And so, my daughter was like, listen, mom, you got to get on it, and she really has pushed me in this social media arena a lot.
Yeah.
Hmm.
No, it's good when you have, our kids that are trying to promote us and say, hey, just try it. I mean, even my daughter, some of this technology, these teenagers, this new generation, I'm just like, what
Uh-huh.
is this? Like, I don't understand it. I try to get
Yeah.
in my daughter, but I'm just like, at least try. And
Right.
then if you still don't get it, then ask for more assistance, but definitely try because as you said, there is someone looking for you out there. You
Absolutely.
have something that they want and they have something that you want. And it could be knowledge, a connection, a resource, a travel buddy,
It could be
money.
encouragement, inspiration. Somebody needs to hear what you have to say and vice versa. So, that's what we need to be doing out there. That to me is the meaning of true global community.
Yes. And it's if anyone is attending my Move Abroad webinar that I'm hosting next Sunday, I have compiled the only list out there of 130 Black and Brown communities that you can reach out to if you're thinking about traveling or moving abroad. I also included some mental health resources for men and women and apps that are geared towards the diaspora. So the link is
That's going
somewhere.
to be a great resource. Great resource.
Yes, it took me some time to get it together, but it's one-stop shop. So there's no excuse why you can't find community in any of these continents besides Antarctica. Haven't found anybody in Antarctica.
Well, it's cold there, isn't it? So I don't think I'm concerned about that. It's cold.
Yeah, it looks good from the map. That's what.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Gotcha.
but let me go to some of these questions. I know we're it's 10 o'clock now, my time. So someone had a question. Let's see. It was a guy, I think, had a question.
Okay. Great.
Okay, before I said that, Wendy said, ladies, let me take this moment to say that my experience dual sitting with Diamond the first half of the year goes down as number one. We shared experiences that go beyond, and I'm internally grateful.
Oh, that's my girl. That is my ride or die right there. We had a blast for almost 6 months. Thanks,
Yeah.
Wendy.
And I actually thought this comment was for me, but I keep forgetting that, okay, long story short. So DL Clater one said, hi, Diamond, this is your cousin from Costa Rica. And
Hey, cuz.
in my head, I'm thinking it's for me because back in the day when I was
Uh-huh.
like not even 14, everybody was fast back then. So the internet, you would be in like little chat rooms, age
Yeah.
section. And I wanted people to think I was 14. So my screen name was Diamonds 14.
Oh, see, y'all kids, man. I'm
Yeah.
telling you.
So
I'm
I
telling
still
you.
use that email address to this day, like
That
Diamonds
is so
14.
funny.
So I'm just like, Diamond. I was like, do I got a cousin in Costa Rica? But it's not the right Diamond. It's
Okay. Okay. Well, let me tell you, since we're still looking for questions, I met my second cousin in Costa Rica. I had no clue I had a cousin in Costa Rica. I'm just there house sitting, and somebody came on my page and said, "Oh, maybe you should reach out to my sister, your cousin,
Yeah.
in Costa Rica." And I'm like, "Who? What? Where? How?" So it's been a beautiful connection
Yes. No, we got cousins and aunties and grandmas all over,
all
brothers,
over the world.
everywhere. Um,
Yeah.
so Patty Pat had asked, have you ever house set and it was not a good experience? But I think you touched on that with the guy that had,
The suicide in California.
yeah. But is there any other one? I know we
Well, yeah. Let me just say that I did have a challenging sit. The first one in Portugal, as a matter of fact. This was a sit that was referred, a person that I had met last year in Portugal referred me for this particular sit in March. And it had a bevy of challenges, to be honest with you. So what could have been a most ideal, beautiful 3 weeks in the Algarve was more challenging than I would have ever agreed to. The hostess was not as gracious as I would have liked her to be. There were some challenges with like electric going out, and this is in the Algarve. It was beautiful. Otherwise, if it wasn't for all those other things, it would have been the perfect sit. But it was challenging, and yeah, it wasn't the greatest experience at all.
Wow. Yes, the electricity is. We're
Yeah.
so privileged in America where we don't have to worry about these things, and we travel is not the first thing we think of. Being in Portugal, having to select what wattage you want versus what your flat can tolerate are two totally different things.
Two totally different things. And I learned that right there on that sit because, the electrician came and said, well, you don't have enough wattage for what you're trying to use in here. And I'm like, what? Like, where does that happen? But it happens outside the United States regularly. So this is something that, manage your expectations accordingly.
Yes, the energy consumption, I feel like other countries regulate it much more. I feel like my grandmother would have been like, turn lights off at 9, turn the lights off. Don't turn nothing on. Nothing's running after 9 o'clock. So if you hot, you be hot, sleep naked,
That's right.
So,
That's right.
Yeah, we do waste a lot of energy in the US. I guess
and a lot of everything else too. I'm very much more conscious of water usage as I travel globally. Food waste is ridiculous. So I'm real conscious of, how can you repurpose what you are not eating in this meal? I take home a lot of stuff. And find a way to use it again because we just waste a lot. And, they don't do that in other countries.
Yes. One of a friend of mine, I forget where he's from one of the countries in Africa, but he lives in Lisbon. He started a company. It's like no food waste. It's called Chefy. And what he does is people that are traveling or people that live here, if they end up having food, instead of throwing it away, they could list it. So people can either pick it up for free or if like they're charging like a few euros for it. It is a great startup that he started. I'll put the link in the description after this live. But I'm not sure how far it has branched outside of Portugal since it just launched this year. But I do like the fact that if you're traveling and you may not have a lot of money for food or you just want to donate, like you don't have to just throw it in the trash. Sometimes people leave it at their Airbnb, but then like we don't really know if like it really gets eaten or just sits or if it just ends up in the trash. So definitely a great concept. I'll definitely.
It is. I agree.
So I'll just do these last 4 comments. Lori said, excuse me, my voice. Lori said, I love Diamond's Facebook group for pet sitters. And that's the Sisters Who Sit.
Sisters Who Sit, yes.
Sisters Who Sit.
Thank you, Lori. Thanks for building the sisterhood.
And Leslie Codwell, she said, hello from Pasadena. I am watching on TV, just jumped on my phone as it's easier to chat. Love this conversation. Looking forward to learn all I can about house sitting abroad and a newbie.
All right.
Nice to meet you, Leslie. Morgan, who started off this series, she is the founder of the Liberation Diary.
Okay, yes. I saw that.
She said, thank you for the convo, ladies. Allison from Atlanta. You could definitely check out her video live from last Sunday on my channel. Leslie also said, how long does it take to get trained to house sit?
There is no training. If you love animals, if you're going to care for animals, there's no training. But I do have my website. You can go to my website, which is www.thegallivantinggrandma, and you can download my House Sitting 101, as well as I just did a webinar about a month or so ago, and that is available too. And that will help you to jumpstart your house sitting career with success.
All right, I'm putting that up in the chat. Let me just use this right here. So if you're in the chat and you're wondering the website, this is what it is. And Leslie also asked, do you need a web page marketing? Do you need a web page, I guess, to market yourself as a house sitter?
Well, the majority of the Sisters Who Sit are with Trusted House Sitters, and that is a mobile platform. So you would register with them, you would set up a profile and an account, and for an annual fee, you have access to right now almost 9,000 sits. So the answer is, unless you just want to, renegade it yourself, is no need. Start with Trusted House Sitters; they'll take good care of you.
Yes. Wow. So now we have ran out of time, or we have run out
Oh
of
my
time.
goodness.
And it's 10 minutes after. I didn't even get through all the questions. That's how good it was. I was like, okay, let me pick and choose what's next. But
Uh,
this was such a pleasure. I'm really excited that you were able to talk to me and everyone that's watching about this. And I think it's very important to share what we're doing, share opportunities that are
mhm.
great for the diaspora, share, like, yes, people that look like us, and they're like,
Yeah,
yes, I can do this too, no matter my age, where I come from. It's just very motivating, and it is definitely going to change people's lives, whoever watches this.
you know what?
After,
It changed mine, so I know that it is going to change lives because it's been a game changer for me. Thank you so much for the invitation. This has been phenomenal.
yes, and I know you mentioned your website, but you
Mhm.
also have an Instagram that people
I
can
do.
catch up on you with, and I believe that's also in the description.
Okay.
And any
My
affiliate link.
YouTube. Yep.
Yes, in her YouTube channel. Everything will be in the description if it's not there right now. But I wanted to thank everyone for watching. I hope you were able to take something away, share with a friend or a colleague. Also, don't forget, June 23rd, I have my Move Abroad webinar, which is free. And that's where I am going to be giving out my PDF of over 130 Black and Brown communities and mental health resources for the diaspora that everyone can connect with if they're traveling. So, with that being said, thank you,
Thank
thank you,
you so
thank you
much.
so
Thank you
much.
so much for everybody who tuned in. And thank you, Heather. Keep up the good work, girl. We need
Thank
it.
you. Thank
Absolutely.
you. And you keep gallivanting all over the world for us to
I
watch.
am the Gallivanting Grandma on YouTube, Instagram. Find me. Let's do it.
Yes. All right. Ciao, everyone.
All right. Ciao for now.